We are delighted now to introduce our next two guests, Erik Brynjolfsson. He is MIT Sloan School of Management, and Andrew McAfee, MIT Sloan School of Management as well. Hello, guys, and welcome. Thank you for being here.
Guys from MIT here.
A couple guys from MIT. Right. What are your titles there, Erik? What's your title there?
I'm a professor and a director of the Initiative on the Digital Economy that we co-founded.
Awesome. And that your title?
I'm a scientist and the other co-founder of the Initiative.
They're a lot smarter than us, though, Andy. I think is the long and short of it there.
I'm watching them.
We're here to change that opinion on this.
Oh, well, I like that. I like that.
Excellent.
So I'm sure you heard, I don't know if you heard the president's speech or you've heard about it after the fact, but he definitely talked up AI and 5G, saying that in his words, we should not shun technology, but support it. Just what are your feelings when you hear these kinds of things from your president?
Well, I think it's great to have the support of it. I would love to see us invest even more in AI and technology. The good news is the United States is the leader in developing these technologies and in commercializing many of them. But as you've probably also heard, China and other countries are catching up fast and also investing much more heavily with government support than we are in the United States.
So I think we're still in a good position. We are still in a really advantageous place in this race. I agree with Erik. The key is not to lose the position that we have. And for example, when the world's most intelligent, ambitious, tenacious people in this field want to come to America to build their lives and their careers, and we put these Kafkaesque barriers in their place. If our president is on board with AI, let's get on board with getting the talent here.
Well, I just wanted to double down. I think it's really important because I went down to the AI summit at the White House, and before I went there, I asked my students, my team, what was the one message you want me to convey? I knew I wouldn't have a lot of time. And they said exactly what Andy said. They said, look, you've got to fix these barriers to immigration and people coming in. Most of our students came from other countries. I was born in another country, came to America, which has been a magnet for talent, but it's become less so recently.
And so, Andy, let me ask you, though, as a scientist, because you've heard a lot about the Trump administration cutting funding for research and science. Is that something that's impacted you?
It's something that's impacting, again, our competitiveness, our lead in this race. If you really wanted to handicap America, this is a marathon, not a sprint. If you really wanted to handicap a runner in this marathon, you would cut funding for basic research. And we're not talking about government picking winners and losers in industry, but funding basic research in these fundamental disciplines, cutting off the supply of this amazing talent that wants to come to America to build its career. These are things that you would do if you're on the other side of us in this competition.
Should we be doing more, though, about cultivating that talent that's coming from outside our country here within this country? And how do we do that?
For sure. Of course we should be. It's not a zero-sum game at all. In fact, Michael Kramer, who recently won the Nobel Prize, showed that when smart people gather together, they benefit from each other. So if we attract more smart people here, it makes our own smart people more productive.
That much smarter.
and then it makes people want to be part of that. Do you think Silicon Valley is successful because they've shut out all of the smart people? Of course not. And that's made the people who are already there more productive.
And the guy that co-won the Nobel Prize the year before was Paul Romer, who said that economies grow not based on energy, not based on natural resources. They grow based on human capital and based on ideas.
Hey, Erik, so you do one hears a lot of scary stories about how China's ahead, they're leaping ahead, they're getting ahead, they're ahead with facial recognition, et cetera, et cetera. Are there good stories here in the United States? Are we doing anything right?
No, we're doing a lot right. I'd rather be where we are than anywhere else. And the reason for that is that we have the best basic research. We just published something called the AI Index Report, and it showed that actually China has passed us in the number of publications, but if you go by the citations, which is the gold standard of how much people care about the research, how much impact it's having, the United States still has a big lead. But there's no God-given right that we will always have that lead. It comes because we've been a talent magnet, because we've invested in it, because we've had free and open communication, and we have to maintain those advantages.
And we may be behind in facial recognition. However, to come to Europe, I boarded a plane in Boston, and I had my boarding pass out, but instead they just said, stand here and look over there. The gates opened and I walked onto the plane. They boarded the plane via facial recognition. So we're not out of this race by any stretch.
Right, there are privacy concerns with that too.
There are. That's a whole other conversation.
But there are also security concerns.
Yeah.
And do I want everybody that boards the plane
Right.
to have their face scanned so the bad guys can't trade boarding passes?
Absolutely.
Yes, I do personally.
You know, it seems like there's this love-hate relationship with AI, especially as more people feel threatened by it and when it comes to their jobs. Yeah. And I understand there can be job creation through AI, but how do companies, economies sort of deal with this job polarization, if you will, to get the people who are feeling left behind up to the front of the line?
Well, now you're getting to our sweet spot. This is what we've been writing about. This is what we do research on mostly at MIT, is how machine learning and other technologies are affecting the workforce. And there's a big mistake a lot of people make that AI is going to wipe out all the jobs. We're going to have a jobless future. The reality is when you look at it, that AI is going to transform most jobs, but there's no shortage of work that only humans can do. What's happening is that AI is affecting specific parts of jobs. You know, they can read medical images for radiologists, but the radiologists still are working with other radiologists to diagnose things or to talk to patients. Likewise, for every profession we looked at, what we found was that there was radical restructuring underway, and that's not easy, and that can be very disruptive. But
that's different than destruction. That's not the same thing.
Exactly.
And Erik's being a little bit modest. He and his colleagues have done the best research on the coming wave of machine learning transformation in the economy. The right way to do it is to look at all the tasks that are done in the economy. How susceptible, how open are those to machine learning? Abstract up from there, what jobs does that involve? What companies, what industries, what geographies? We can answer all those questions once we start from the right base, which is looking at all the tasks that get done.
All right, well, it sounds very encouraging. Erik Brynjolfsson from MIT and Andy McAfee of MIT as well. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
A real pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.